Hello and welcome to another episode of Dance Teachers Academy. I am your host, Jose on the mic, and with me as always is the lovely, amazing dancer, Ame. How are you doing?
I am fantastic today, and I am super excited about our guest today, Mr. Carey Stinson.
Hello.
Yes, and I even know the title of this podcast is already going to be How Dance Helped a 7-Foot Purple Dinosaur named Barney. And this
lot.
Yes, and it was so exciting. So we met you you were on another podcast,
Yes.
Don't Be So Rude.
Don't be so rude.
Yes, and I happened to be an audience in that podcast, and I got to say...
Hashtag cheap plug, by the way.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they love those too, those guys, right?
Yeah, that's for those guys.
So I have to say, I was super inspired by your story because it just, to me, well, first of all, we know dance did help you because
A lot.
your mother
Yes.
helped you as
Yes.
a trained dancer.
Yes. The short of that, or to start that off, is that
Yeah.
I was a musician. I was a piano player coming out of college. And like a lot of us coming out of college, we're looking for work and figuring out. And I found out about this purple dinosaur. Barney was
not a lot of session work out
right.
there.
Exactly.
Not like it used to be.
Right. Completely different. So I was working at Chili's actually, and found out about Barney. And they knew that the guy that recommended me knew I had some rhythm. We'll just put it that way. And so I got hooked up with Barney, and this was before the TV show, so there was no Barney and Friends at that point.
It was just at the beginning.
Yeah, they had done 3 videos.
Okay.
So I was doing birthday parties for them in promotion. And every time they would...
That had to be a bunch of stories all on his head.
Oh, it absolutely was. Because, what they do is they'll say, well, have you ever been in a costume? Well, no, but I can do this. You're looking for a job. So
Yes, you're saying anything.
Right, you never say no.
Fake it till you make it.
And that's exactly what happened. As I continued with them, they said, can you dance? I said, sure I can dance. I can't dance. I can move, but I can't dance.
Yeah.
But my mom's a trained dancer for now over 70 years.
Wow.
And ballet and jazz. She's amazing.
She still teaches, right?
She does, to little children.
Nice.
She does. Just had her recital this year. And so I went to her with the routine. They had a video of the movements that were being done.
Interesting.
And in my parents' garage, she taught me all the dance moves.
This is great.
And then I built a fake costume. So I got a jacket to deal with the heat, and then a backpack with a bunch of weights, so I could kind of simulate it. Because when you're doing these movements,
it's a 7-foot.
It's a 7-foot. That's a 50-pound costume.
Yes.
And so you have to be larger than life, right?
Or grandiose.
To you, I can wave here,
Right.
but Barney has to wave like everything has to be bigger.
Yes.
Sure.
And then we were doing, bell kicks and aerial 360s. You can really hurt yourself when you're blind and in a 50-pound costume.
If you don't have the right technique.
If you don't have the right technique.
That is a lot of material to haul around.
Absolutely. So my mom taught me all that. And my favorite part, the most amazing part of this story is that I did that sing-along all over this country for 3 years before we ever had a chance to show the main choreographer for Barney, who became a very close friend of mine. And I finally worked with her, and I said, can I show you what I've been doing? And she goes, it's perfect.
Don't change a thing.
Don't change a thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's perfect because of what my mom taught me.
Sure.
I just was able to do that. So dance helped me a lot, and then the choreographers on the show really helped me a lot.
Yeah, so this is amazing. So a dance teacher, your mother, helped you with that. And
absolutely.
I just love that. And it just... I was saying that in performances, I even had one coach one time accuse me of, you're making it look too easy.
Right.
The audience can't appreciate what you're doing. And I'm
what does that even mean?
Yeah. I still haven't figured that out. But that's the beauty of what you did, is you made it look so easy. I mean, I've seen it. I'm like, okay, that. Now, of course... I don't have children, but I knew it was very attractive to children.
Yes.
And children, they smell a phony a mile away.
They do.
So the passion you had behind it, I love that you said on the past podcast that you never got sick of the theme song.
No.
And you saw what it did for children.
Yes.
And that people reached out to you in their older years talking about how much Barney meant to them.
That's correct. I now have a podcast called Purple Tales.
Perfect.
Telling all the stories from all the people that were involved in the Barney world for all these years. And I learned, I was 23 when I started, the responsibility. Because these children, it wasn't Carey, it was Barney. So when you were doing it, you were Barney.
No, you had to be in character.
You got to be in character the whole time. So you're never sick, you're never tired, you don't hurt, and it's just it's like being shot out of a cannon. When you hit that stage, it's on.
It's
running, and it is on.
Yes.
It was so funny. I had the chance. I actually got back in the costume recently.
How did that feel?
It was amazing. And it's the same thing. And it was so funny because we were, I had to go up some steps. And this was an event where no one had ever seen Barney before. And so they're like, well, we'll help you. I said, no, just back up.
Barney doesn't need help.
Barney doesn't need help.
Right.
So Carey doesn't. We don't need help.
No, we don't need help.
And I just run up those steps and just shoot out like a rocket. And they're all looking at me.
Uh-huh.
Well, that obviously took a lot of training involved in being able to do that. And those are things that they taught me over the years.
There you go.
So when you're on, you are larger than life.
So so before, from the last time to this recent time, what was the downtime there? That time frame? A year or two?
8 years.
8 years.
Wow.
8 years I had done.
Wow. So talk about muscle memory.
Yeah.
Again.
No kidding.
It completely came back 100%.
Yeah, and you have a passion and a heart for it. You took it so seriously how important it was to those children. Well, no wonder Barney was so popular, or still is.
Still is. Well, when you see 3,000 or 4,000 people selling out every night, we were doing 7 shows a week.
You feel a responsibility.
Yeah, just like a Broadway show.
Yes.
And you go into, if you're watching us on video, you're going into Airplane and stuff like that, and every child is doing the movement,
mimicking
all of it.
Yeah.
And it fuels you.
Mm-hmm.
It fuels you, and then you get afterwards, and you drop, and you need your downtime.
Sure.
But someday we were doing when it was really popular. We're doing 3 shows a day on a Saturday.
That's hard.
An hour and a half show.
Jesus.
So there's no you need to be in your space for a little while and then fire yourself up again.
Yeah, it's like, come on, let's go again. Yeah, and so I did want to talk about that too because, with dancing, we really we don't have to as much anymore with the wonderful shows like, So You Think You Can Dance.
Yes.
And
my mom's a huge fan of all those. She loves them and critiques them.
Oh, I'm sure she yells at the TV all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm like, what is he talking about? I thought, that is so great. So Dancing with the Stars really changed our business so much. And interestingly enough, for female instructors especially, because when Emmett Smith won Dancing with the Stars, now it was cool for a guy to dance. Where before it was like, I don't know. And so now
sneaking around trying to get
really changed the game. But I say that because talking about dance as a sport, I mean, these people are in great shape, and because of what they're doing with their bodies. You were in great shape.
Yeah, I was in phenomenal shape.
Yes, and I like the story you talked about preparing for a marathon, or really not preparing for the marathon.
Well, I did, but I just did it through a big purple dinosaur. I actually ran a marathon, and my only training was from doing that show every night. An hour and a half show with a 50-pound
and I think that's
costume.
amazing. So people don't realize because you made it look so easy.
Well, part of it was we had amazing choreographers. That really, they took a bunch, several of the Dinosaur, the costumed actors were not dancers. And so they really had a lot of patience and really worked with us to show us these movements and understand that we're going to get tired and all these things that are going to come about. I'm basically blind while I'm doing this, and I've got earpieces, and and then you've got this huge tail and all these things going on. And
got a lot of moving parts.
You got a lot of moving, and then you have children on the stage that you can whip that tail and knock someone out pretty easy. So there's a lot going on, and that's where technique and all those aspects was so important. Choreographers were very, very important to us.
Yes. So tell me about the timer, because when you did the 360, it goes to the right. Is that right?
Usually. That was the plan.
But talk about the one time you went 360 to the left.
Yeah, it was so funny. On Purple Tails the other day, the lady that actually hired me and she was the senior vice president of stage tours and live events, and one of my very close friends, Sloan Coleman. She was with me in Minnesota. I'm a huge fan. I can't explain it. I'm a huge Viking fan. I'm a huge Minnesota fan. And we did.
Purple is your favorite color.
Purple is my favorite color.
Prince, Minnesota Vikings.
I love it all. We were doing the Minnesota State Fair with 16,000 people per show, 3 shows. No joke.
Wow.
And I got pretty pumped. I mean, you can imagine the roar of 16,000 people. And so I'm doing the show, and I've done the same. So it's a 30-minute sing-along that we're doing. But there's moments in there where you can add something, or you know, I've been known to moonwalk possibly, and some other movements I might have put in there. And I was feeling it, and I hit that 360, which in that costume involves you really cranking your hips because you've got to whip it, and then of course launch yourself, tuck your feet under, and then obviously land it. And I had never done it before, and for some reason this seemed like a good idea. To go right, land, and then go left. Well, when I went left, I landed on my left leg, and the other one didn't, and I was kind of hopping to hear 16,000 people go, oh. And I took my body and just threw the weight and dropped myself and kept going, but I never fell over.
I was going to say, did you hop through
No, I just threw that weight and I dropped it because I had complete control of that costume at this point. I'd been doing it for 10 years, so I knew what to do. So after the show, you hear, where is he? I'm like, oh my God. And she's like my mom. I mean, I've known her forever. She's my stage mom.
Yeah.
Don't you ever, I don't care if you were feeling it, don't you ever
do that again.
You scared 16,000 people.
So they saw something like...
Yeah, they saw something no one else... They got a special treat.
That was a special treat.
But look, we all do that. You know,
sure,
as dancers and performers, we all do things.
Yes.
You know, obviously I've fallen down on stage. I've done things, and you just pick yourself up and you go. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you feel it.
I know. I get it. Yeah, and then you make...
And then you heard about it.
Yeah, you hear about it, exactly.
Yes. And so did you have to have some extra recovery time after that? Because that took a lot of muscle to kind of get back.
It did, but see, I knew the routine so well. I knew all the songs, so I knew what was coming up. Okay, I'm going to have to. Because without going too far into it, you're having to use... So I'm actually controlling his mouth using my mouth. Mm-hmm. There's a bar that without giving too many secrets away.
Sure.
You're using that, so you're not getting a full breath. You're not getting to be able to breathe like you normally. A lot of it's going through your nose, mm-hmm. or you find ways to cheat. Mm-hmm. So I could pull my mouth off. You know, I could
get some
that
breath.
Kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I would know within the show. Okay, we've got a slow song coming up. I'll be able to breathe and pull myself back. Oh, this is the one that they all love. I'm gonna. And that's where I cranked I did that kind of stuff. But I would know within the show where I could go and, you know, when to conserve energy and when to really go for it. Yeah.
So, and that is just a dancer, absolutely, because there's parts in our routine, like maybe we're facing away from the audience, so this is a moment where we can go take a really big deep breath and then go into the next part, which is pretty intense or something like that.
And I would do the same. I would turn around and like wiggle my tail at them, so do some little shake. But I'm actually breathing is what I'm doing.
Yeah, taking a breath.
So I'm sucking in air, but I'm doing that. So they're mute. You know, I'm keeping them I'm keeping them entertained, and they don't realize I'm actually preparing myself for the next song.
See, so that just amazed me that all of this. But then when you said it was like, well, of course. And so I really admire everything that you did. How did it feel to be back in the costume?
Incredible. I got emotional, you know, because it's been 28 years of my life. Mm-hmm. And it means so much to children. Mm-hmm. You know, they really love him, and he loves everyone. You know, he unconditionally loves everyone.
Yes.
And that means a lot, you know, because we're talking about someone that's shy. You know, someone that hasn't been loved, mm-hmm. and they can go to that purple dinosaur, and so to see it, and like I said, I hadn't been doing it in 8 years. Everyone wanted a picture. Everyone wanted a picture, and it was cool because Christine Baranski, if you don't know Christine Baranski, she was in The Birdcage and tons of other movies. She's in the Good Fight right now, and she was like, "I have 2 questions for you," because she's got grandchildren. You know, so. And what I love about that with celebrities, their parents.
Yes.
The celebrity goes away when they see.
Oh, sure, they're still a parent. They're a parent first.
They're a parent, and that's what they want to see. So to do it all these years later and see the reaction the same, I've got it. They're talking about their child who's now in their 30s, but they went to a tour event or something like that. So it was just incredible.
What were her 2 questions?
She wanted to know, she said, how hot is it?
All of it?
Yeah, of course, I get that all the time. And the other was, how long does it take to transform?
Oh, yeah. How long does it take to transform?
Not long.
Instant.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say instant.
Right.
Those are very special costumes, by the way. People always ask me, are they in your closet or under your bed or something? They are not.
They're probably like in a museum.
Are you kidding?
They are not.
I'm sure they're crated.
Cats,
that one, that is huge.
Yes.
Massive crate.
Yes.
It is, that one is mine. It was my TV. I mean, it's not my personal owned, but it was personally fit for me.
Right.
So it is personally, because the actors would be different, and because that was my TV show that I did for 12 years. So that costume actually fits me like a glove.
Because there's a couple of people when you're on tour, because there has to be, because of the physicality of it.
Well, and you can't be in more than one place at a time, so you'd have people on the road and this. But this costume right here, I've been through several, but this one's my baby. It because I had input on it in the insides to make it, because I was living in. I was in so much.
Yeah.
I'm doing a TV show. Yeah, you're in there. You're living in it. So, so it wouldn't. You'll understand this. Control of it so it wouldn't come off my shoulders. It's more form fitting, so I can do those movements, and it's not bouncing.
Oh yeah, it's not all sloppy in there.
Where the placement of the fans, because there's parts of your body like your back of your neck here that help with the cooling. So
sure, yeah,
absolutely. But they're all set in strategic places that I had them put, and controls that I can control. So if I'm on stage, I can pull them. I can fully put them on, and let's be very honest, they don't really cool you down. It's more the placebo effect. It makes you feel better. At least there's something circulating.
Sure.
But then if someone's talking to me, I can turn them off. So I have control.
Oh,
there you go.
Of that, yeah.
What about your feet? Was there anything special with the feet?
Absolutely. It's interesting you say that, because these are lessons. I was not a trained, as we've talked about, dancer or performer. I did a lot of damage to my feet in my early days. I have about the worst plantar fasciitis you can imagine. My foot doctor was like, oh. So I have custom insoles. Everything was custom. They did a mold of my feet. So I have there's special shoes in there.
Yep.
There's special insoles. All of that.
I know that one.
On the tour we had a special, I know you do. On the tour we had you've got more of a stage, but the TV show is on concrete. Yes. And so when you're doing those jumps that 50 pounds and it's high impact.
Yeah.
And I was destroying my feet. So everything is now for that reason to custom to protect you.
Yeah, that is your costume,
it's my baby.
Sports equipment, all in one.
Yeah.
What did you talk about recently? You said you got recently on the podcast.
We just talked about the stage tour. It's the coolest. In fact, that episode will be out tomorrow.
It is called Purple Tales.
Purple Tales podcast. Purple Tales podcast.
June 4th.
June 4th. It'll be out on YouTube and wherever you find your favorite podcast.
Sure, yeah, right.
We did an amazing thing. See, Barney was from Dallas, Texas, if you didn't know.
I didn't know that. I love that.
It's shocking to people, but it was from Dallas, Texas. And the lady who
is that Las Colinas or
it was originally Allen.
Or Allen.
It was in Allen off of Bethany. It was the
way up there.
Back then was very small.
Nothing.
There was nothing out there.
The gentleman that brought it here had a publishing company. And he was out of Chicago, and he was dealing with unions, which is very expensive.
Yep.
So he moved the whole thing down to Allen, had nothing, and he put it out in the middle of the field, basically.
Yes.
And so same with Barney. And so the lady that hired me, same thing. She was a mom. She wasn't, a big executive, which she turned out to be. And she went...
What is her name?
Sloan Coleman.
Sloan, yes.
And Sloan went to Dick Leach, the owner of the company, and said, I want to take Barney on tour. I need 2 things. He said, what do you need? I need $1 million. Now, this was in 1996. And I need the best rock and roll tour manager you can find.
Wow.
And they did both. And it was absolutely groundbreaking because
rock and roll
had never done a kids show before.
Right.
All of our roadies were all Rolling Stones, AC/DC, you name it. And they're all doing it still now. And
that is
so
amazing.
It was an incredible story of taking rock and roll with a kids show.
Yeah.
But we knew
it had to have that because it was that intensity and that popularity and having to deal with that.
Exactly. They didn't want to do a theater show, where you seat 1,000. Or they wanted to go bigger and knew they could. And to do that, you needed that type of crew that was
used to.
They were used to.
So who's the rock and roll manager?
His name is Jake Berry, and Jake Berry right now is on tour with U2. He's that guy.
Wow.
He's that guy. He was on.
That is amazing.
He left. He left the Rolling Stones to come be with us, and
left the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, he was with us. He was with the Rolling Stones.
Those guys would be playing coppers in his.
And it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life because I remember one day we were traveling from one city to the next, and we were sleeping and knock on the door. Everyone, get your clothes on. We're like, what? And we walk out, and he's standing there with a stack. We're at the arena. He's got a stack of tickets for Tina Turner. He just got us all tickets to go in and see Tina Turner. He had that ability, and because we were living on the road, so they rewarded us well with doing those kind of shows.
The other thing that I had no idea, and you don't because and I never knew who you were because.
You wouldn't
because it's Barney.
I have never told stories until this year with Purple Tails, which was at the beginning of March of this year.
Right. This is
there you go, newly minted.
Well, we felt like it was important to tell these stories.
Oh, absolutely.
For people to understand, I know how much you love Barney. Well, we loved it and knew how important it was. Right? We weren't just taking your money.
Right.
We cared. And Sloan Coleman insisted in every city that we went to a hospital and visited the kids.
Oh, absolutely.
In every city on the tour's dime.
Wow.
It wasn't for media. It wasn't for press. Because we did that kind of stuff too, obviously.
Right.
But we would go to a hospital in every city. And the cool thing is, of course, the crew didn't want to do that. They were rock and rollers. A day off is a day off. But when they saw what it was about, they started limiting the amount of crew that could go to the hospital. From no one wanting to go to everyone.
Everybody wanted to go.
Because if you've seen that experience, of a child that, in some cases, is
on the way out,
has a week left.
Yes,
and there's no sadness because their friends there. When a child's last wish is to see Barney,
you're gonna go.
You gotta go.
Pretty incredible.
Oh my gosh!
Experience.
So talking about emotional.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
So Jake, right?
Jake Berry.
He must have seen something about this that he would.
He's leaving the Stones.
Well, yeah, and the funny thing about we were talking about the other day because he's got a buddy.
This isn't a garage band.
It was one of the buddies that turned down Barney.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were like, because Barney did really well back in those days, so it's pretty funny. But Jake believed in it. He believed in it. He believed what we were doing. He believed in Sloan, and they made it amazing. And it was a huge learning curve. You put rock and rollers with. We had a lot of dancers, obviously. We had professional dancers out there on the road, and so you had this, but they were used to local theater. And one of my favorite stories is the crew wanted tour buses, like they were used to. Well, local dancers and theater actors, when they hear buses, they're thinking bus and truck, like a Greyhound bus and one truck. And the bus shows up.
Used to living in a closet in New York.
Yeah, right.
And then the bus shows up, and it used to be Garth Brooks' bus, and all of a sudden they're like, this works.
Oh, yeah, this will work.
Yeah,
I can do this.
We can do this.
I can do this.
So they treated us unbelievably. I remember those dancers just kept going, this is unbelievable. We never get treated this well.
Yeah, and this is a point that dancers talk about just because we are athletes and just to not to get the pay that professional athletes do, but put all the time and the work into it. So I'm hoping that I feel like that's changing and shifting, starting with Dancing with the Stars, going with So You Think You Can Dance, World of Dance, all of that. But it's I just love the influence of dancers in your life, Mom, number one. And I'd love to see dancers get more rewarded, right, for what the passion that they put into.
Absolutely. And I took a lot of dance classes because of the dancers. Right? I took tango. Yeah. I took tap. I always wanted to do tap, so I took tap. And we would do that on the road. You know, you're on the road. You're living on the road, and we didn't have social media and smartphones like we have now. So many times I'd go to someone's room and practice tap or practice, that was something we did. And I loved it, having those dancers out there that could finally teach me some things that I always wanted to do, but never could do it.
Yes. And I think it's probably a blessing you didn't have social media and you got a chance to interact and
absolutely.
Got a chance to put the time in.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were talking about that. We did things that you probably couldn't do today, but we could do it back then.
It's amazing. Yeah. So what's your favorite dance?
It would be tap. I don't know why I've always been tap dancing. Has just been something to me.
Nice.
That's been amazing. Simeon Glover. I got to see Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk on Broadway when we were there, and I saw him. And of course, I think Gregory Hines is one of the most talented I've ever seen. So I've always been.
So you're just a born hoofer then.
Well, I want to be. I want to be. I've taken many classes. I wanted to be, but I have such an appreciation for it. My mom would be more ballet, and it's interesting because I just kind of dance and do my best to keep the technique, but she's amazing. She's amazing, and it's obviously
and so dance she's been teaching for 70 years. So obviously dancing is keeping her super healthy. And
my gosh. Everyone says, how's your mom doing? Rock and roll star.
Yeah.
She's rock star. Incredible. Rock star.
Where's Jake? She needs to go on tour.
Yeah, she's in incredible shape. And I love that she...
Fire up the buses, Jake.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. She doesn't allow a 6-year-old to still... she still has standards with these little girls and little boys. She's still working on their posture, and I get a chance to go every year and see her recital.
Which she just had, right?
She just had it.
Yes.
And
how was that?
She's off to the side, and the kids can see her, and it's amazing how much she gets out of them. It's amazing how much she gets out of a 5 or a 6-year-old.
Because sometimes people, when teaching young people, I think this is changing, but are like, oh, let's just get them out there.
Right.
But no, she's training them from the beginning.
No.
As I was trained from the beginning.
Sure.
Yeah.
But because she was a little child when she learned, right, she understands it. She understands the importance. She never forgets that it's a child.
Yeah.
Right?
She understands the dynamic.
Absolutely. And that they all... Some, mature earlier than others, and so you might get this mindset of so you hold them all on an individual instead of, well, they're doing this, so you should be. Oh no, it doesn't.
No.
And that's how she treated me. Yes, I was her son, and I was her student when I learned to do all those Barney moves. But she also knew my limited move, So she'd have patience. Is my point of this.
Right.
All right, let's try this again. Okay, and she would slow it down like a bell kick. She would slow it down and say, okay, and then you'll launch yourself here. And so even though it was my mother, she really became my teacher there. And she had amazing, she was going to make sure I got it right, but amazing patience, which I think is so important with a good dance teacher.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely agree, yes. So what's in the future for you now, Carey?
Who knows where it's all going.
I know where that Barney suit is, though.
Yes. At least I know I can still do it.
That's exciting.
Well, we're excited about where Purple Tails is going, and we're going to see where that goes. It's been an amazing experience having these people come and letting the world find out that rock and roll was part of the tour.
I love that.
I think it's amazing.
A dancer, our production designer that designed all the sets, he actually came from Casa Manana, which is in Fort Worth.
Yes.
So he was their guy for 6 years, and has worked at all the theaters around here. So people are realizing the talented people we had.
Very.
So we hope to keep telling those stories. And then I'm also a photographer. And I just finished doing, I did all the recital pictures for the kids. So
oh, yeah, nice.
It was fun to see that.
How's it back?
Yes, you know, the knees.
The knees, yeah.
She said,
it was worse than getting that suit again. Taking pictures was much more difficult.
Knees in the lower back.
Yes.
We're too tall for this.
It's the truth.
Because you have to get down to their...
Oh, absolutely. Well, right, to their level.
Right. Got to get the angle shots, and you're on the floor.
And when they teach them at a young age now, they call it Tiny Tots. And they've got 2-year-olds out there, just to work on their movements and things of that nature. So you got to get real low.
You're literally laying on the ground.
You are laying on your side.
You are laying on the ground.
You must be.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're way too tall for that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I found that out a couple of weeks ago.
You have a show coming up or something?
Oh, we do, yes. Purple Tales Live. So we're going to be in Ennis at the Ennis Public Theater. This is the first show that we're taking out on the road. So Nancy J., who is our co-host, she's done local entertainment media in Dallas-Fort Worth forever. And myself will we'll do our usual opening. And then we've got the actor that played Baby Bop, the actor that played BJ, the body, most people don't know, but there was a body and a voice. So BJ will have the body and the voice there, and then the body of Baby Bop will be there, and then I'll be telling some Barney stories too, and then we'll have question and answer. So people can ask us questions for the first time.
I love that.
And it will be live streamed. So you will be able to, if you're not in Dallas-Fort Worth, you'll still be able to see it on our Facebook page, Purple Tales Podcast Facebook. And you can get your tickets at ennispublictheater.org.
Awesome.
I love it.
All right, well. I want to go. Right? See a bunch of 30-year-olds singing along.
Well, this is just so interesting, and I just really appreciate everything that went behind the show, the Barney Show, the heart, the passion, absolutely
the talent behind the scenes,
professionalism. Absolutely.
Good Lord, man!
I really have a new appreciation.
It's a pleasure being here, and I feel like I'm tipping my cap to my mother because she really...
Oh, absolutely.
When I told her I was doing this, she was like, "Oh, you're going to be on a..." She gets so excited. She's never listened to a podcast before. She's like, "How can I find this? How can I find this?"
That is awesome.
You're going to have a new subscriber here. It's my mother because she loves that. And then when I tell her you're on the same page with her about critiquing Dancing with the Stars and all those shows, she's going to be right with
my new best friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me besties.
Absolutely.
All right, young man. Well, we're not going to hold you up anymore. I understand you're busy. Carey, thanks for being here, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Absolutely.
We'll definitely have to do another one of these here soon.
Would love to.
Bring your mom.
Bring your mom, actually, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about this, and she's loving it, so we'll have to do that. Maybe we'll...
Definitely bring mom.
We'll grab another. Maybe I can get Baby Bop or someone...
That would be great.
That'd be super.
To come here, and you can hear... Because we have different challenges and different stories, so I think you can get some new perspectives. But thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. The lovely May.
Thank you so much, Jose.
All right, folks. So this has been another episode of Dance Teachers Academy. Thank you for watching.